Hey everyone, so welcome to a brand new video, and this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be taking a break from talking about my pharmacy technician journey or the journey to becoming a pharmacy technician. I'll be sharing probably a little bit less of that over the next few months, as it's going to be like things like probably reviewing and stuff like that. It might end up more in short video style format because will probably end up doing those kind of videos kind of in the moment. But for today and today's longer video, I wanted to take a few moments and talk about something that I don't get a chance to talk about a lot, and that's my life being gluten-free. So I've been gluten-free now since 2012, and so what I wanted to talk about is some of the things that are of, I would say, convenience and the toughest parts about being gluten-free. I did do a short video on this, but I want to do a little bit of a longer talk on this because I don't think people realize quite how difficult this can be, especially when it's not like you're just avoiding an ingredient. Preparation is also really important. Okay, so what do I mean by this? Well, so I would say the toughest part about being gluten-free is not necessarily finding gluten-free ingredients. Although that was the case when I first went gluten-free in 2012, it's no longer the case anymore. You can pretty much go into any grocery store now, or at least you can where I live here in Canada, and there's a lot of options. However, this can quickly become a bit of a curse at the same time. So let me explain. Let's say you were cooking something using like what I do here with my air fryer. Well, it's might be that you get a gluten-free option. Let's say somebody is making chicken or, you make something that's gluten-free. However, air fryers are really hard to clean. I don't know if you guys have an air fryer or not, but they're ridiculously hard to clean. If you've got baskets or whatever, there's crumbs hiding in it. And so if you're cooking anything that you're breading, so like for me, I like to cook my gluten-free fish in the air fryer. I probably wouldn't let people put anything that's breaded in my air fryer. Your tolerance for things will vary. So for me, example of microwaves, I generally do tend to use a microwave like for leftovers if I take it to work. However, I'll try to get away with it as little as possible using it because I don't know what's in there. I don't know what has been in there. And I don't want to accidentally gluten myself. Now you're probably wondering, well, Ashley, what happens when you get glutened? Let's save this for a different video, but let's just say it's a week of non-fun. Have you ever had a stomach bug that's caused really, really bad diarrhea and constipation at the same time? That's pretty much what you're looking at. So simple things like countertops and all of that. It's not just the gluten-free ingredients. And honestly, I would say the gluten-free ingredients, because of how popular the diet has become, is probably one of the easiest. But the preparation and people knowing what they're doing when it comes to using those gluten-free ingredients and making sure that their dishes are actually clean is another story. So here's another thing. I won't use the same dishes if we have to hand wash them. If somebody is cooking something that they use a lot for gluten-containing ingredients and then they want to hand wash their stuff, no dice. If there's a dishwasher though, I will pretty much use anything that people have used before, minus air fryer baskets. That would be my limit there. So toasters are another really common area where you can have cross-contamination with the crumbs. I don't know if you guys have ever looked inside of a toaster, but there's a butt ton of crumbs. And unless you can find a way to protect your gluten-free bread while it's toasting, I'm never sharing a toaster with somebody who has a gluten-containing bread. I would say the next biggest thing is just convenience. So there's no, let me grab something on the way home that's cooked from a restaurant. The only way that's happening for me is if I go out to a restaurant or I order like a delivery service type of thing from an actual restaurant. By convenience, I mean like things like fast food or all of that. There's no like, I don't know really what I want to have for supper tonight or dinner, as you call it in some parts of the world. So I will just grab something on the way home. It's not happening. Another part where this plays a huge major role, actually, and issues is when you're traveling. I would say the hardest part about traveling for me is finding options. So once you get used to an area, you can generally time kind of figure it out, like based upon internet reviews or all of that and just your experience with the place. If I get sick from somewhere, that's it. That I'm not usually going back unless I've been going to that same place, haven't had a problem, then all of a sudden I have a problem. And then it's a one time thing. I go back the next time and I'm like, oh, well, maybe it was just a one time thing. But if I go to a place and have an immediate problem where I gotten quite sick, then I probably won't give that place another try. I have had that happen before where people will start advertising a gluten free menu. They're trying their best, but then because they don't know what they're doing with the prep, it doesn't mean anything. In fact, if I had my way with restaurants, they wouldn't be able to advertise gluten free options if they can't do the gluten free preparation on top of it. Because, in my opinion, if you're going to advertise for gluten free stuff, you should be safe for celiacs. And now, I do have to put a disclaimer out here. What you see me do may be different than what you see someone with celiac disease do because I'm not officially diagnosed as celiac because I haven't gone through the official diagnosis process. And the reason for that, I've talked about this before, but the reason for that is because I went gluten free on my own and found that it helped a lot at the start, even though I wasn't doing it right. The longer I go now, and the more often, if I do happen to come into contact with something and I do get a reaction, it's not like I've had a piece of bread to cause that reaction. It's been something in the preparation process that's caused it. Because I know what I'm doing now well enough that I can pick out food that's going to be naturally gluten free on a menu. But if I tell them, oh yeah, by the way, I just say gluten allergy to make things easier. It's not really an allergy, but people tend to understand the word allergy a little bit better. So that's why I use that phrasing. It's also got legal repercussions, and there are protocols in kitchens for allergies. But I would say that's another really hard part about being gluten free is just the convenience. Whether you're, traveling somewhere and just don't have options, or you are dealing with family who doesn't understand. I'm going to be very blunt here and saying there's a difference between not understanding and just plain ignorance, in my opinion. There's been obvious times where you mention to people they know that you're gluten free, and there is no willingness to try to adapt anything. It's almost like, well, it's up to you to figure it out. In reality, it should be people should have to accommodate for really anything, Somebody has a peanut allergy, you can't just say, well, I want to still have my peanut containing stuff. No, you accommodate because that's a life threatening allergy. Mine's not life threatening, but it doesn't mean that it won't make me really sick. So, just putting that out there that I'm going to say there's a difference between not understanding and then there's just a difference in just saying, oh, that person's being just, difficult or whatever, ignorant. I've had it's been so bad actually, the some of the things that I've dealt with over the last decade with this whole thing that when somebody actually does make an effort to accommodate and, whatever, they're shocked at how thankful I am for it. And I'm just like, you just don't understand. Like, people just do not try to accommodate this. it's not like I'm trying to be difficult. I would be eating the cheaper stuff if I could, trust me. Because there is what I call income. Well, so we all deal with income tax in this planet. At least those of us who live in most Western countries deal with some type of income tax. Well, those of us who are gluten free deal with a gluten tax. What is a gluten tax? Well, gluten tax is where you pay $3 to $5 more for pretty much everything because it's labeled gluten free. So it's really, really frustrating. And like, it's crazy because sometimes, you remove something off of something and a restaurant will charge you for like the specialty order or whatever. It's like, come on, guys, I'm removing stuff. This should be cheaper, but it's not. Anyways, that's a different rant for another time, too. But the gluten tax is very real. I wouldn't be eating bread the size of my hand if I didn't have to. Okay. All right, everyone. I don't know how I didn't think of this when I was filming the video, but I would definitely say one of the biggest challenges to being gluten-free is missing out on any type of social gathering, whether it be with friends or family. Work can be really difficult with that. You pretty much miss out on any type of free food that somebody offers you because it's like donuts or pizza or cupcakes or muffins or like things like that. And it's just like, I say now that, oh yeah, it doesn't bother me. I'm used to it. I've been gluten free now for so long that it's not a big deal. It's a big deal. It does get to you after a little bit. And the worst thing, though, is if people know and then they still don't accommodate anything. And it's like, well, talk about taking what I told you the first time. Like, I get it. You can't see it, it's invisible. It's like my migraines. It's just like, oh, yeah, I know what I'm having a migraine is like. I'm on Aimovig, actually. Like, and they're like, oh, yeah. These invisible things you cannot see. So people just assume that, like, if you had something visible, it may trigger something more. But I feel like because it's not visible, like, of course, if I don't say anything, you're not gonna know. But it really, really frustrates me when people do know and then they make no effort to try to accommodate. Now, that being said, be careful what you wish for, because there are some people who go too far in the other direction. So they'll really try to want to make something for you, and it's just like, then you gotta sit them down and be like, okay, yeah, feel free to make this gluten free, but here's everything else that you also gotta take into account if you even want me to try this, because otherwise I'm just gonna say, I'm sorry, but I can't chance it because it's not just the gluten-free ingredients, it's the prep as well. Sometimes trying new things can be a bit of an adventure, but I want to show you something. So you guys know how I was just talking about convenience, right? I found something in the place I'm at now, in the town I'm in now, and this was at a local grocery store. And I got really excited. I haven't had like a microwavable meal since being in Saskatoon for my first year of university. That was 2014. And it was because I was really new to cooking. I don't usually eat this kind of stuff, honestly. But I found this and I absolutely love power bowls. Like, I love the mixture of the vegetables, the meat, and the grain, which, if it's gluten free, it's usually rice or quinoa, and it's great. And so when I found this at the grocery store, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to try that. I tried it yesterday and it was so good. I'll be getting this again. But I think it was like pretty expensive. But you know how I was saying convenience? Well, I didn't really feel like having leftovers again, which I kind of call these things. People who know me say a joke about frozen meals being leftovers. No different than heating up something that you've already cooked in a microwave, just a little bit longer. And so that was really cool. And I'm happy I like it. It was really, really good. I've got another one in the freezer to try. So I'll get back to you guys on that. But, just these little things where it can increase convenience occasionally. Like, I wouldn't want to eat them all the time. Just the little things make so much of a difference. Let me know if you guys want me to go over some of my favorite treats that I've found, I can definitely do that. I like to share that kind of stuff because finding gluten free products at the start that you like is honestly really difficult too. It does take a while to adjust to this kind of diet, and it's like the ingredients are different usually, but like I've been gluten free for so long now, I don't even remember what the originals taste like. And sometimes, if I've never had it before with the gluten option, I don't know the difference. So if it tastes good, I'll keep buying it because I could be totally duped and not even know it. Now, another thing I want to kind of illustrate here is that when you're using similar types of like utensils or whatever, if something can't be washed properly, you have to have a dedicated gluten-free version of it or a way to make it so that the surface can't become contaminated. So this isn't like cooking a food to get rid of bacteria. It's not like a bacteria where you can just cook it to get rid of it. It's very similar to like having something like a raw chicken or something like that on a surface. Like, you know how you have to wash your countertops after cutting things like chicken breast or something on the counter in order to fully decontaminate it? Well, it's basically the same thing with being gluten free. You can't just cook it away because the protein itself is not sensitive in that way like bacteria is to heat. So it can be really difficult to explain that to people, but I think raw chicken is a little bit closer to explaining basics. Another thing that absolutely drives me up a wall actually is when people have gluten containing items and they aren't careful with where the crumbs are falling or if I have my phone. This is one of the reasons. So I started washing my hands every time I got home because of being in the pharmacy. I actually do it now for both bacteria and viruses, but I've actually started doing it now because of possible gluten contamination. So before I eat, I'm always washing my hands to make sure that if something is contaminating something else, that I'm not contaminating my food at the same time. That would suck. It just takes such a little amount to make me sick now. It's going to be up to each individual person as to whether they agree to use something or not. One of the things that I like about having a kitchen to myself basically is I don't need to worry about what's been on the countertops. I know exactly what's been on the countertops. I know exactly where my stuff has been. I know exactly what's been used on everything. I know that my butter hasn't been accidentally used in place of gluten containing butter. Like things like that where cross contamination can occur so quickly is just, it's so nice to not have that concern anymore. Thanks for watching. If you're interested at all in watching my content, feel free to subscribe and hit the like button. Don't forget to turn your notifications on. I am very infamous for not posting videos consistently. I basically post now when I feel like I want to, so there's no pressure like for me to. I will say if there's a video out, it'll be on a Sunday, but basically there's no guarantee of anything. Thanks for joining me, everyone, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye, everyone.